Hello, Reinhardt Eagles, and welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today I will be covering a topic of date rape. Did you know that just over 1.4% of men experience date rape at some point in their lives? And did you guys also know that 30% of women who experienced rape were college age, between the ages of 18 and 24? This subject is really important because I feel like in today's world, I feel like people have a hard time talking about this subject matter, and I feel like our society should be a lot more aware of this, and I feel like we should be open to talk about it, even though it may be a hard topic to talk about. But today our special guest is Lauren, and she's a date rape survivor, and I'm here with Noel also. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So Noel, do you want to start with anything?
Yeah, so Lauren, we have a couple of questions, if you're comfortable answering all of them. So kind of just to kick off, if you wanted to kind of just tell us your story and then going into some kind of after questions or maybe any throughout your story.
Yeah.
If you feel comfortable with that.
So, honestly, it all really started in, 2018, so, already, 2 years maybe into the relationship. And I had noticed, he was kind of getting a little bit more hostile. And, being, my first actual real-ish relationship, I just kind of was like, maybe it's just because of school, he's just getting stressed out, maybe it's just, some family issues, and, every time that I would go over to his house, he'd always want to have sex, and I would literally physically push him away from me. I would be like, no, I'm, not wanting to do that right now, and he would just, do it anyways, and I would go home and be like, he'd be like, so how'd you like it? And I was like, I didn't. I said no multiple times. You didn't want to listen to me. And he was like, well, that's too bad. You're my girlfriend. What does it matter to you on, what I say or what is happening? And I kind of let this go on for, two more years. So around May of 2020, COVID was, super huge. And that was honestly, my escape. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to go over to his house. His parents are super old, so they could easily get COVID. It would be terrible. And so that was my most escape. And I know that it's really bad to do breakups over text. I did that mainly for my safety, because this man, when I did that, he showed up to my work.
Oh my god.
He came in, started harassing people while I wasn't there. Saying that I was cheating on him, which wasn't true. I legit was just at work, doing my work things, just trying to get through school, because it's super hard during COVID. Everything's so completely different. And he's just harassing everyone in there, trying to get everyone on his side. And I had so much that I could easily have just gotten him in jail for. But the thing is he kept harassing me after I had blocked him on all social medias, even on iMessage, and I don't understand how his number kept getting through, but it did. And I changed my phone number, got a new phone, the only thing that I have that would, prove that he was, being harassing was he got mad at Fortnite and said he was going to kill himself over it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What? Yeah, the man was clinically insane. I hope that no woman has to ever deal with this man. And
I feel like you kind of expanded on kind of one of the questions that we already had, but
mm-hmm.
I mean, what was going through your mind, when you realized what he was doing?
I was thinking, oh, this really can't be happening to me. He's just being stupid, whatever. I can mm-hmm. just ignore it. This is only one time, but it wasn't only one time. It was multiple times.
Right.
And he would just berate me, saying mm-hmm. That he's not doing anything wrong. And that it's because, I'm just a woman, so it doesn't matter to him,
mm-hmm.
what, he does, what I don't want to do. It's, what he wants to do and stuff like that.
Right.
With friends, so I had 3 friends who actually had worked with me,
mm-hmm.
and I had gotten them all 3 that job. It was 4 friends, sorry. He actually got 2 of them to turn on me. One girl ended up making a group chat and adding everyone into the workplace on there. And she decided that she was going to start belittling me and just being a complete jerk, saying that I was lying about everything when I wasn't. Why would someone lie about rape? That's the true question. Like, I'm not trying to get anything out of it. I'm trying to, like, raise awareness to what he had done. And with, like, I had known her for so many years, and the fact that she would do that is, like, what's even worse. Like, she wouldn't even let me explain my side. She only listened to him. Like, she told him that I was cheating on him when I never did. I was just trying to get through my days at work while doing school, because everything's super hard. And I only found out that they made a group chat about me because they added my 2 other friends who told me about it. And when I confronted her, she was like, oh, I never did that. Like, why would I do that? And started gaslighting me. And I was like, okay, cool.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And funnier fact about that is my mom was actually good friends with her mom in high school, and her mom kind of did the same exact thing to my mom.
Wow.
Like, literally turned her friend group against my mom.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So crazy.
So would you say then, like, those 2 friends that kind of, like, told you about it, were they almost like your support system after? Or, like,
yeah.
I know, like, I go to my friends a lot about stuff after, so I mean, like, what would you say was your big, like, support or, like, help afterwards? Like,
my 2 friends were, they let me rant to them as much as I could, and then other than that, like, I mean, the only other person that I told was my mom. I refused to tell my dad because, you know, dads probably would kill him, and that would be really bad to do because, you know, it's murder charge.
Just a little bit of jail time.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've just been, like, playing video games, just, like, trying to, like, do things that are, like, off my mind, trying to, like, you know, go through college just to, like, be better than, like, what he was, just, like, thinking, like, more positively about myself. And the funnier thing is the, like, reason why I did actually end up breaking up with him was because I bleached my hair. And I came over and he was like, you're so ugly. Like, why would you do that? And I was like, that is the last straw. That was honestly the last straw, which I find absolutely hilarious thinking about that every day. Like, it just makes me laugh and, like, brings joy to me because, like, him saying that and then me just being like, goodbye, like, just makes me laugh all the time.
Right. I mean, so, like, did anything in particular just kind of, like, make you want to, like, talk about this or, like...
I feel like that it happens a lot and people aren't talking about it at all. Like, the only times that you ever hear about it is, like, really famous people, but you don't hear about it, like, from people that are, like, you know, like, 16 who this is, like, happening to more often because they're all shunned by, you know, older people being like, well, it's because of what you're wearing. It's because you're doing this, like, your makeup. Like, no. Like, that's, but, like, whenever it comes to, like, someone who's, like, famous, everyone's, like, all on that. Like, they're not being like, oh, it's because of what she wore or something like that, you know? It's like, I feel like that a lot more people need to know that it does happen, whether or not, like, they, like, can say anything about it. Like, most of the time, it's with someone that's, like, a family friend. It's basically grooming, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, they try and get you to, like, never talk about it. They try to, like, silence you as much as they can.
And that's true. And I feel like that is, like, a really true statement. Like, I feel like whenever you see the news about stories like this, they're like, oh, well, she was wearing a red shirt and she had this, she had a short skirt on. Like, people make such a big thing about, you know, what a girl wears, but they never really take into account, like, what the man does or, like, how a guy, like, they have that stupid thing of boys will be boys. But my thing is just, like, why is that okay? Like, why is that an okay statement to say? You know what I mean?
Have you seen, like, the museum that they have where they, like, put up, like, rape survivors, like, what they were wearing that day, and, like, some were in, like, sweatpants and, like, a sweatshirt and stuff, and
like, I feel like what you wear is honestly that should never matter, like, what you wear. I mean, that shouldn't happen to you regardless. Like,
no,
that's really bad. But I also just kind of wanted to ask you, like, how do you think, like, men can help with a situation? Like,
I think that, like, if they're, like, one of your best friends or something like that, like, they can be there for you. One of my other good friends who's actually more online friendship, he actually had come down here with his other friend, and, like, we all had, like, known each other for, like, years, and he was even there for me, to talk to me about it, to, like, hear me out and stuff like that, and, like, comfort me and all that. So I feel like that if it's, like, a good guy friend that you know and trust and can actually talk to, I think that's, like, a way that men can help. They can also help by, like, teaching other men that, hey, this isn't okay. Like, you shouldn't do this. like, if you're having these thoughts, you should just go and put yourself in a jail or something, or, like, some type of therapy.
Yeah, okay. I can get that.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious, like, moving forward, like, from everything that happened, like, how does that affect you, like, going into another relationship? Like,
it does give me some trust issues because of the gaslighting that he did create, of the stuff that he had done to me. Like, I have a current relationship right now. He knows all about it. He's always like, hey, if, like, you're having, like, a really bad day and it's, like, something like that, like, maybe, like, your trauma is, like, affecting you or something like that, you can always talk to me. He completely, like, understands everything. Some guys aren't like that, and I understand that. Like, some guys are like, oh, why would I care? Like, or I just only want you because, like, you're hot or something like that. But he's actually the only one that's, like, just truly cared, in my opinion. Because he's just been there, like, anytime, like, I'm having, like, a really terrible day.
Yeah.
I did have some speculations at first because that's just because of, like, how everything happened last year, and just I didn't know, like, really what to do, and I, like, kind of kept to myself as much as I could.
Yeah.
And just, like, try to, like, go through it by myself if I could. So.
Yeah. I think that kind of helps, though, with, like, when we were talking about how men can support, too, that, I mean, sometimes, like, even if it is, like, your next boyfriend, kind of being open that is, like, a past trauma that, like, you gotta work through, you know?
I mean, I think it's important for guys to be, like, understanding in that sense, because, I mean, we all have, like, past things that happen to us, and we all have reasons for, like, why we may or may not trust. So I feel like in regards to your current relationship, I feel like that's so important for him to be understanding, and I'm happy that he is understanding, and he's, like, able to be a support system for you, and I guess doesn't, like, use that against you, because some people will kind of use that against you, and, like, that's a really, like, sad thing. But I am really happy that, like, who you're with now is very understanding and there for you, because you need that. I mean, like, that's always important no matter what. But I also kind of just wanted to ask, like, are there, like, any resources that you recommend for people, like counseling or, like, just there, like, what would you, like, do you recommend anything for that? Or
honestly, I did not go into any of that stuff. I really probably should have, and probably should still. I did develop, like, a bunch of anxiety, ADHD a little bit, and depression. And I didn't really get, like, I didn't go to, like, a therapist or a counselor or anything like that. I just kind of, like, try to, like, in a sense, like, meditate on, like, my own. So I was just doing, like, things that I really liked, maybe, like, watching TikToks that were, like, super funny to me, really helped me. There's actually been, like, some people that I found that had, like, the same thing happen to them, and I can relate to that, and it's, like, it's made me feel a little bit better. So, like, honestly, TikToks might help, like, finding, like, a creator that might have had the same thing happen, so that way you can, like, see how this happened to them and, like, what they, like, did to get through it, or if, like, you know, doing, like, video games or, like, just making your own artwork might even help, like, just some, like, type of mental therapy that you can create on your own.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that, like, that there's enough awareness on campus, or even, like, we have, like, support, like, we have counselors and stuff, like, do you think that Reinhardt makes it known enough for, like, people to go reach out for help here?
I think they do. I haven't really looked into it as much. Obviously did the FYS, the SAPU, or whatever it's called, and it seemed like that, there is quite a bit, like, you can talk to a counselor, you can talk to, like, the I guess, like, it would be considered, like, the church people, you know? Like, they might be there for you. Even your own teachers could actually be there for you. Atia actually was really there for me. Like, when I asked her if I could talk about this for my personal experience conversation, she was like, yeah, that's, like, honestly up to you. Like, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And, you know, I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like, people need to know about this.
Right.
It's like, I'll at least put in a trigger warning for, like, some people, because this might have happened to them and they just don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely get that. I guess kind of, like, the last big question that I really had for you was, like, if you had any last bit of advice for men or women on campus on kind of, like, early signs that you could see, or like how to get out of that situation? You know, just any bit of advice that you could have for somebody for awareness.
Some of the red flags that I did notice were mainly like being really toxic, just like blaming things more onto you and like not themselves, like things that like you weren't even around for, like that you couldn't have like stopped.
Right.
Things like that where they're like saying, oh, my grades are dropping because of you, or they're drinking like a lot, like stuff like that. Like they're just becoming like super angry, just like unkind, like they're not how like they were when you met them like maybe 3 months ago, because I know
Right.
it's usually when people start to show their true colors.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like that's like the main red flag, is like looking at those things within like those first 3 months, seeing like how they kind of like act like with their body language to you. And honestly, if like that starts happening, try and tell someone really quick, because it might happen to another person, and try and get like away from that person if you can. Like if they're in your classes, talk to your advisor and be like, hey, like there's this kid on my class, like he's like sexually harassing me or assaulting me and stuff like that, or trying to like touch me. Just tell your advisor, tell the police that are on campus, and try and get away from that person. And if you can, honestly, maybe a restraining order might need to like happen, or that kid just really needs to go to therapy and like try and like fix what's wrong with him.
Yeah, we have rules on campus too, that if there is someone in your class that's doing that, like I'm pretty sure they get removed out of the class, not you. And then they like do an investigation into everything. So
yeah, we had that even in my high school with like, I'm not even gonna lie, that happened to me with my like not really an ex, but it was just a situation. But like that even happened with me like my senior year, like I think first semester senior year, that even happened. Like this kid was quite literally going crazy, and like we had to go to our campus officer about it, and we ended up like getting like an order against him, like basically telling him like he couldn't be near like within a certain amount of feet from me. So I feel like people making like those restrictions obvious and like making that known that that's an option is a huge thing, so people can flip. They have like a really good shot of being safe and feeling safe and like being able to still do your schoolwork, but like and have like a somewhat normal like school experience. Because I feel like if you're stuck with that person and you like know that person's gonna be there, that can oftentimes be kind of hard though. So I think it's important that our school makes that known.
Kind of in my 8th grade year, another kid, he actually had touched me on my thigh on purpose. Like he had groped my thigh, and I was like, hey, that's not cool. So I went and actually told the principal, and the kid actually sadly had played the race card and said that it was because he was African American. And then I got in trouble because they said that I was racial profiling him, when everyone in that class had even said, yeah, no, he did that. And I got in trouble for it. And honestly, like it kind of like made me scared to like tell another, like maybe a police officer or something like that. But like in my head I was like, why would that kid lie? Like he just got in trouble and stuff like that. And I was actually moved out of that class, which I mean was fine. I didn't really like that teacher anyways. So it was just like a huge ordeal, and I didn't like it, and I didn't like that he was doing that. But I mean, that's in the past. That was like a super middle school thing.
Yeah.
I just wish that maybe they had looked into it more and just didn't like instantly take his side. I'm guessing that they just did that because they didn't want like a huge newscast or whatever in that time period, is my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get that. But I do want to say thank you for like coming on here, because I know this is never like, this is sometimes like not the easiest thing to talk about, and I do understand that it's a very personal thing, but I'm hoping that like what you said can really like help us like and help others even like that maybe going through this, whether it's men, women. I do want to say that, so I appreciate you coming on here and telling your story. It was like I feel bad for you because I know that was probably hard, but at the same time it's like I'm happy that you're happy, like you're doing good, and like once again you have somebody that's supporting you and that's good to you. But I do want to make a little statement, that if anyone is going through this or is experiencing it, there is the sexual assault hotline. It's just 1-800-656-4673. So if anyone needs that, it's always there. But I do want to thank you again, Lauren and Noel, for coming on here today. And that's it for the Eagle Eye podcast. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.